Hi, and welcome to Correct Way. And today I will show you one of the most fun propositions by Begode, which might also want to kill you. This is the Begode mten5. So let me tell you more about it.
Correct.
First up, big thanks to Begode themselves for providing me this wheel for testing purposes. I was testing it for a while, but I didn't make a video for a while either because it kept breaking. More on that later. And this is also how you know that this very review will be honest and thorough. Big thanks to my eWheel 2. They do not have this particular electric unicycle for sale on their site, but they have plenty of other choices. So if you want to buy a electric unicycle in Europe, feel free to use my eWheel and use my coupon code wrongway for a discount. I appreciate that a lot. Now back to the wheel. Now of course I will tell you about all of the good things, the bad things about the mten5. I'll tell you about the features, but sometimes there's just things that you cannot argue about. And in this case it is the machine turning off all by itself when riding. Just had a crash on the mten4. It just very randomly turned off. Just decided to die. I think it's a loose accelerator. And as much as I like Begode and I like the contact with them, the communication, can I really trust this thing after it randomly turned off when I was going 20 kilometers an hour on a sidewalk? Well, I don't know really. Would you? And turns out that the axle inside got loose, and therefore there was probably some sort of short in the motherboard circuit. The motherboard wasn't strong enough or stable enough, and therefore it just turned off all by itself when I was riding. And this is pretty much a deal breaker for me, and I am tired of testing devices that are not safe. On Begode's behalf, I have to be very grateful though, because at least they sent the same faulty products both to customers and reviewers, I guess. Or maybe you got a not faulty one, so that's great. But recently, Marty with the Begode A2, yeah, he received a assassin wheel as well. With that said, Begode was very communicative about it. They were helping me to find the issue, they were talking with me, but at the same time, like the least that you expect, especially from devices that are powered and balancing on one wheel, is that they don't break when riding, because here the stakes are much higher than, for example, on e-bikes or e-scooters. Later on, I was waiting for replacement parts, and the first motherboard I got was actually defect. So I had to wait for another motherboard. And that motherboard is now inside of the electric unicycle. It works well, it works fine. So do I have the courage to make an acceleration test on it? No. Do I have the courage to ride at the actual top speed of this electric unicycle? Definitely not. Do I feel comfortable riding on it? But with that said, it works, and I'm here to give you the review of the Begode mten5. In the meantime, of course, another Begode model came out, the mten5 Plus, which is also on sale at eWheels. And there, I heard at least that the motherboards are a lot more strong, a lot more durable, and they also run colder. So if you're looking for a mten5 anyway, then you might be looking at the mten5 Plus. And this is actually a motherboard I will receive also for free to upgrade from Begode themselves. And sadly, I do not know if they send out those new motherboards also to existing Begode mten5 owners. With that said, that's the intro. Let's get into what this thing actually is. By the way, also huge thanks to Taju, he's riding away right now, for helping me make this video. He was the cameraman here. And he also does miniature art. He paints figurines. So if you want some figurines painted, then hit him up in the email below. Yeah, thanks, Taju. So the Begode mten5 is a small portable electric unicycle, which is right in between the mten4, which is very small, very twitchy, and in my opinion, very difficult to ride, and the Begode A2, which is slightly bigger, but at the same time has the same battery of the mten5, so 750 watt hours. So it should be sort of the best of both worlds, between too much fun and not really so usable in the city. I know people will comment that they love their mten4s to use in the city. I think they're just too dangerous. And the A2, which is, already a bit too big, and this has a better form factor. So 750 watt hours, 84 volt system in this thing, 1200 watts motor, something like that. I would say the safe speed on this thing is between 20-30 kilometers an hour. The free spin speed is at super fast, actually, 70 kilometers an hour. So might be the fastest wheel in its category, but I'm still afraid to go so fast on it. Begode will tell you it's faster, but honestly, this is a very wide tire, as you can see here. Almost 4 inches. This wheel becomes very twitchy at higher speeds, and it's also very stiff because this is a very thick tire, a tubeless tire, and yeah, I wouldn't risk it going faster on this thing, especially that it doesn't have the same amount of headroom as bigger, more powerful wheels do. Even so, going over gravel and terrain like this is more comfortable on this than on a 10-inch scooter with stiff suspension. The Kingsong N12 Pro, for example, that I was reviewing recently. It weighs around 20 kilos, I believe, something like that. Front light, tail light, I'll go through the features in a bit. But yeah, in general, I'm very happy that Begode keeps making those wheels, because honestly, no other brand makes small non-suspension wheels. So I really do like the direction that they're going here with. But when it comes to the execution, yeah. So now I'll go from top to bottom, and I'll tell you about all of the features on this wheel. Starting with the trolley handle. And it is weird, to say the least. It can get damaged, as you can see here. I have quite a bit of scrapes when you fall, so this is perhaps not the best way to make the trolley handle design. But at the same time, it's very accessible. It locks with a magnet, which is sadly not strong enough. If you hit a big bump, you'll just hear it like a click. So the trolley handle doesn't entirely lock in place on the bottom. It does with the magnet, and then it lifts up, and then you can also, boom, extend it. Because Begode always tries to make a trolley handle differently than other manufacturers, and maybe than your logical mind would suggest to do. So I guess they mean it to push it this way maybe, but then again, more weight is on the front, so it's easier to push it this way. But when you push it, this thing goes in. And it can go down, so it's not the worst trolley handle in the world, and I like pushing this thing around. However, it would be miles better if it would lock in place here, and especially here on the top. I really like the handle, partially, because for once it does have a kill switch here. So if the electric unicycle is on, you just press on it once here, and then you can lift it up and carry it, down a flight of stairs or put it into a car trunk. However, big problem here, if you look from the bottom here, I don't know if you'll be able to see it, it has ridges on the bottom, which is presumably for making sure that the handle is actually light, but it's extremely, extremely uncomfortable to grip. I don't even lift this thing up without my gloves because it's so uncomfortable. Placement of it, nice. Kill switch, awesome. How comfortable it is to grip? Nah, not really. Moving on the top we have just a plastic layer, a lot of screws, but actually this electric unicycle is supposed to have pretty good waterproofing like the Begode 2, so I guess riding it in the rain shouldn't be an issue. On the top of this plastic piece here, we also have a display, but then again, execution is not the best because it's pretty much, you can come over the camera here, Taju, it's almost not visible in broad daylight. You can see it in night, but in broad daylight, not really. It's here, okay.
No, I can see it.
Okay.
From just
Yeah, the execution here could be definitely better. A brighter display would be nice. On the front, we have a power button, which also deals as a light switch button. You can turn on and off the light. And here we have the 4-pin GX 16-4 port for the 84-volt system. Also really nice rubber flap here, rubber gasket, pretty cool. But not so cool is the charger that comes with the wheel. I think it's just about 2 amps or 1.5 amps, so 5 hours for a full charge. Not terrible, but quicker would be much nicer. I believe the max charge rate on it is about 5 amps, so with a aftermarket charger, you could also charge this thing up quicker. So again, not the worst, not the best, that's what we get here. Moving further down, let's talk about the light. The light is adjustable. And it also has daytime running lights. They're blue, they're very blue, not like light blue, but dark blue. And they're kind of cool. And it also has the main beam, which is pretty bright, usable in the night. Nothing to complain about here. But in the tail light section, we have an awesome feature. Look at this. I think this is the most glorious, nice tail light that I've ever seen. It has a red part on the top and a yellow part on the bottom. And those things also move about when you tilt the UC. So very visible in the night, very nice. And in addition to that, we also have red sort of lights through the plexi or plastic element here on the side, which looks pretty cool. However, they're also red in the front because Begode. The side of the electric unicycle is very nice. It's all Velcro and you can mount plenty of pads on it. I don't think they're so needed in such a light wheel, but it's still nice. We get that here. It does come stock with pads, but they're very firm. They make the wheel wider, so I just went for some furniture foam here. I do prefer that. It's also very easy to change a tire on this wheel. You just need to unscrew, I guess, those 4 screws. I didn't really do it, so I'm not sure on it, but those 4 screws, which are the motor mount, and then you can change the tire. So really nice that the manufacturer actually thinks about, using the electric unicycle in the long run and, changing a tire. The mudguard in the bag is very long, but it has holes. Why do we still get holes in mudguards? Makes no sense at all. Aerodynamics, not really. So I would just tape this off if you plan to ride in rain or ride this thing at all, because dust will also go out through those holes. Really pointless, but that's what we get here. But happily, compared to the mten5, we don't have any hole here on the side because those wheels used to spray water onto your ankles. Really, really terrible. In the front though, we do have a mudguard here. Look at that. So yeah, mudguard situation, apart from the holes, pretty good. On the back here, right below the mudguard, we also have a kickstand, which works really well. Super nice that it's built in, it's stable, it's comfortable. Good job, Begode. The pedals are really awesome on this wheel. Really, no other brand can come even close to the pedals that Begode has at a entry level or cheaper wheel. We have actual MTB studs. Those are long studs, and the angle is also adjustable with those 2 screws here. Really awesome, big size. Perfect, that's how it should be. Now the tire is definitely what sets this wheel apart from other sort of sub 20 kilogram or around 20 kilogram wheels. It's a very wide tubeless tire, and it is very different to ride than, for example, a 16-inch tire with a 2-inch wide rubber, or even 2.5-inch wide rubber. This for me is good for tricks, for going at slower speeds. It's very stable at lower speeds, so it's good to learn on this electric unicycle. It just gives you a lot more stability and confidence. However, once you realize how you ride on the electric unicycle, it starts to get really tough on it, because the faster you go, the more this wheel will sort of push you into directions that you don't really want to go. The rubber compound is really hard, and I would mostly classify it as a fun device or a trick device. If you just want to commute from point A to B, I would definitely go with a different wheel like the King Song 16S or even an Emotion V10F. This is definitely better for fun, but not so much designed for safety and going even at speeds of 20-30 kilometers an hour. It's always a challenge to ride on this wheel, which on the other hand does make it fun. The very wide tire does make up for it with excellent traction and very nice handling. If you want to do some high-speed cornering, low-speed cornering, this thing is very tactile, very precise. It really feels like it's part of your body, even though it doesn't listen to you every single time. So at higher speeds, you really need to lean into it in order to make a turn, and that's very fun. And at lower speeds, it will be a lot more maneuverable than a wheel with a narrower tire. All right, but let's talk about the ride and performance of this wheel. As I said before, it's more targeted to the fun ride category, at least in my opinion. And the performance on it is, I guess, okay for what it is. 750 watt hours, so a range of around 40 kilometers. I would test the maximum torque, but I'm really afraid to break it. And I don't know how different the torque will be on the mten5 Plus. I will test the 25-degree incline. I'm not sure how it will go. I hope this doesn't go really bad. probably we'll be able to do 30. Actually, that's much more torque than I initially anticipated, so wow, kudos to that thing. I mean, I wouldn't be myself really if I wouldn't test a 30-degree incline now too. Additionally, I have the app here, and I will check for a temperature. I'll try going up and down twice and see where the temperature is at, because when I was just riding around the city, this wheel was pretty warm, around 50 degrees Celsius even on the motherboard, which is a bit more than usual. Usually it's between 30, 40, especially at those temperatures. But supposedly the mten Plus should be also running cooler, so take this with a grain of salt, like everything about this wheel. So 36.6 or 36.4 now on the app. So body temperature, let's see if it can make it, and let's see how warm it gets. Maybe it'll be too hot to handle. Let's do it. Oh my, oh, okay. Okay, so I did feel it overpower at one point when I was pushing it a bit more. But still, yeah, no issues at all. This is a torque monster. Okay, let me do it one more time. I mean, I'm testing it. Maybe 35 will be possible, but should I do it? Maybe I'll do it. But the temperature, yeah, it's at 59 degrees now here. So yeah, for hill climbing, even though I can do it, I don't think it could do it for a sustained time. At 75 degrees Celsius, it will tilt the pedals back and beep. I have to do it at 35. Why do I do this to myself? Been a while since we've been here. Wish me luck. Oh my god. This is crazy. Absolutely. Ooh. Can you believe this? This is not really designed to be a performance machine. If I ever would, commute on it, I would not put any pads on it. I would just be careful, and I would have it in the back of my mind that if there's some sort of bigger bump on the road, I need to brace myself for it, because I don't want to, fall on this wheel. In general, it's tricky to ride. At slow speeds, it's nice. At higher speeds, not so much, or a bit more challenging, but at the same time, more fun. I guess I'm just repeating myself. There isn't really much to this wheel. It's just a 20 kilogram fun proposition by Begode. When it comes to the software behavior on this wheel, it's a bit weird. It does tilt the pedals a bit up when, or even down, I'm not really sure, when you hit bumps. In the turns, you can adjust how the pedals go up or down with the pedal turning adjustment. And there's, in general, quite a bit of features in the app that lets you control how the wheel behaves. The thing that is lacking here, though, is a smart BMS. So sadly, you cannot check the state of the battery, which I think that is really needed, especially on a device that has a small battery, and at the same time you constantly use the batteries for regen and for accelerating. Those batteries are just used a lot, so I would really like to see a smart BMS on this wheel. Sadly, we don't have one here. Sadly, it also doesn't have a hollow bore motor. There is no sort of super strong axle here. It is, I think, the same axle as we have on the mten4 and A2. If we would just have a bit of a better axle, I could recommend it more. I also forgot, it has a speaker. It has a Bluetooth speaker inside. It's somewhere in the back. I didn't really use it. That's the quality of it. You'll just hear a random song now. It can get actually pretty loud. Check this out. Not too shabby. So in conclusion, what do I think of the Begode mten5? Well, as said, in the beginning I had a crash on it for no reason, so it's really tough for me to justify this sort of behavior, especially that we had wheels for so many years now and still we get, issues like that. If you don't look at this issue and you assume that the new mten5 Plus is all right and has the power to, keep you upright and is safe, I think it's fun. I think it's a small thing. It's definitely a nice recreational, device. But if you really want to commute, probably that's not something that I would choose. The handle has its ups and downs. It doesn't really lock in place. The handle here also needs some, improvements to make it comfortable. And at 1,400 euro, it's not exactly cheap either. So in total, I can just, as much as I enjoy the contact with Begode and their communication, how they help me out with issues, I can just give it a meh out of 10. So if you're still here, leave a like on the video, subscribe to see more content like this. I'll see you in the next video.